Hey, good morning, everyone. Kevin Sehlmeyer, Michigan State Fire Marshal. Wanted to take some time to share some information with the Michigan Township Association and to kind of bring people up to speed. I know that these are interesting times that we live in, and as we meet the need of responding in our communities for COVID-19 and trying to continue to provide services in our community. So I've got a few questions that were asked of me from the MTA staff that I want to kind of cover here today. I want to talk about training. Currently in Michigan, we're trying to limit training. There are no new classes that are starting within the Michigan Firefighter Training Council curriculum right now. We still have some fire academies around the state that are running. Those fire academies continue to meet virtually. We are starting to run into, and we're going to have some issues as we get into late April, as we had a lot of fire academies that were in some would say the wind down of the academy. And this is the area where they would be doing a lot of hands-on activities getting ready for the state test. We know that we're going to have to push state tests back. Right now at this point, we understand that it's making it challenging for our fire academy students. We want them to stay motivated, though. We want them to stay in the books. We will do everything in our ability to make sure that when we schedule the exams as quickly after the social distancing is lifted, and that will give us an opportunity to get those students tested out. There still are ways, I think, for the students that are at the fire stations. There again, we want to make sure the social distancing, the 6 feet, probably not a good idea to get together in a group and training. And so, they can still continue to practice some of their hands-on skills that they've been learning in the academy for the last few months. I've even had one fire academy over in Ottawa County share with me that they actually had everybody on a Zoom meeting a couple Saturdays ago, and they were actually, the students were at their fire station, and they were donning, and donning is a process of putting on the suffocating breathing apparatus. That's the tank that you see on your firefighters' backs. And so they were able to do that virtually with an instructor working with some of the students as they needed time, just kind of watching what they were doing. So we want these firefighters to continue to practice their skills, especially that are going through the academy process. But right now, the classes are only, a lot of them are using an online platform that comes with the publisher with the book. They continue to do that. They continue to proceed along. And I actually have one of those students living in my household. My son is in the fire academy in Kent County. And so I'm kind of keeping pace with him as he's looking at the online platform that's provided by Jones and Bartlett as the publisher that Kent County is using. And they have the ability, there's an audio book, there's the ability to go in and do quizzes. They have to turn in their quizzes. They have homework that they have to do. So they're keeping things moving. And if one thing that is going to come out of this COVID-19 is that we at the Bureau of Fire Services are currently working on how do we get a little bit more of our stuff online. And we've heard that loud and clear. I've heard it for the 3 years I've been the fire marshal, that we have people who are across the state, that distance of travel, the amount of miles and stuff that they're going to fire training. So if we can do some of that online, I think that's the way to go in the future. And we'll continue to work on that. And we continue to work on that. The training council meets next Tuesday. We're going to try something new. And when I say new, one of the things, we still need to meet the Open Meetings Act. But the governor's office has been working with License and Regulatory Affairs and actually all agencies in the state to, there's boards, there's different commissions, those type of things that still need to meet. We still want to have, follow the Open Meetings Act. So what we're looking to do is next Tuesday, the Michigan Firefighter Training Council we have a work session scheduled for in the morning. We still continue to work on the fire rules. I would kind of say we're kind of in the home stretch on those rules. I want to be careful how I say that. I said that to a couple of groups and they thought it's all done. That's not the case. When I say we're in the home stretch, we probably worked through about 90% of the rule process. And when I say the rule process, the actual drafting of the language that we believe that will be in the final rules process. We still have about 10% of the stuff to work through. And we can still continue to work with all the fire service groups. And remember, the Michigan Firefighter Training Council is made up of 2 members from the Michigan Chiefs. There's a member from the Michigan Fire Instructors, a Michigan member from the Michigan Professional Firefighters Union. There's a member from the Michigan Fire Inspectors Society. There is myself. There is a representative that is a pick of the state fire marshal. And there also is a member from the Michigan Township, or excuse me, the Michigan Municipal League. One of the things that happens, and it's probably interesting for your members, is that they kind of take turns. The last time that they represented MTA, this time it's the Michigan Municipal League. But I also will share that Chief Greg Janik is the representative there. He and I have talked many times, and he definitely wants to hear your concerns from the MTA. So you are well represented on that, on the training council. And then the last member of the Michigan Firefighter Training Council, there's a total of 9 of us, is from the Michigan Firemen's Association, which represents the volunteer firefighters. If you're wanting to know more about the Michigan Firefighter Training Council, if you go to the Bureau of Fire Services website, and on there we have a new tab. And the tab's always been there, but we've updated it for the Michigan Firefighter Training Council. It actually has a picture of who all the members are. It also has contact information. Governor Whitmer's staff thinks that it's important anybody's on a board or a commission or a council that they have to have a state email account. So we have those up and running. And those have been in effect for probably about 45 days. So each person on the council has an email account that you can contact them at. And there also is their phone number. If there's one thing that I want to share as we work through this whole rules process for the training rules, it is very important that we continue to communicate with each other. It's very important that you understand that we're still working through the process. And I want to make sure that you understand that it's active. In fact, next Tuesday morning, we will actually have a work session on the rules I spoke to a little earlier. And that will be done through Zoom meetings. So virtually there will be the ability for people to join in, which is good. We're kind of making history here as we go and do this and we put this together. And then at 1:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday, the training council meeting will actually be done virtually for the first time. Still have somebody taking roles, somebody still taking minutes. It's just that we all won't be in a room together as we move forward. So that's a little bit on the training council on what's going on. The best way to check that out is to go to our website, and the meetings are posted there. And then also, if you want to know who is on the council, all their contact information is there. So we look forward to conducting business that we need to move forward on, some curriculum and other things that will be discussed during the training council meeting. One of the other questions that I'm getting asked from some fire departments, and we put out a document about a week and a half ago to the fire service. We use Gov Delivery is the main method that we use to communicate with the fire service. Anybody who wants to, if you go to our webpage at the Bureau of Fire Services, you'll see a link that says sign up for Gov Delivery. All of our memos, all of our policies, procedures, anything that we put out there, announcements, we actually put out in Gov Delivery, and you can sign up so that it comes right to your email account, or you can have it come via text to your phone. You have that, that's the way that we're communicating with the Michigan Fire Service, and anybody who goes to the website can actually sign up and get information that way. We also send it out to the groups that are out there available throughout the fire service to pass out to their members. So maybe that's something that we should look at too, is that I'm pretty sure that a lot of our information is coming to the MTA, and hopefully they're pushing it out. But that is an option that we could make sure that we continue to feed you information real time, but it will always be available on Gov Delivery on our website. The other thing that we also do, and we try to limit it to just Wednesdays, is we try to push out training opportunities. So there's any fire chiefs or fire departments out there that have any classes coming up, they're bringing in a speaker, any of that type of stuff, we have the ability to advertise your class. So we just want to make sure that you know that we try to only do that on Wednesdays. We found early on we were putting stuff out almost daily, and the folks around Gov Delivery said, you know what, I'm pretty much tired of getting an email from you every day. We totally understand that saturation of information. So one of the things that we're actually doing is that we try to put out training on Wednesdays, and then anything that's coming out from the Bureau of Fire Services or the Fire Marshal comes out pretty much on the days that it occurs. But we'll even save some things for that we won't put them out every day. So we're trying not to saturate you with too much email. We know everybody gets plenty of emails, but we do want to communicate. So those training opportunities are actually broken down by county, so that we know people are looking for stuff that's close by in the county they live in. But be aware of this, that any training that's advertised on Gov Delivery, or any training that's delivered statewide that is using fireworks safety fees, is open to fire from any fire department. And I think that's important because a lot of times we'll see classes that are taking place. I'll give you an example. About a month ago, before we had to put the training, the social distancing policy in effect, I was able to attend a really good class at the end of in March in Hopkins over in Allegan County. And it was the Charleston 9, which was a fire that 9 firefighters lost their lives about 11 years ago in Charleston, South Carolina. And there's a gentleman that comes in and does a really nice job of walking through what happened that day, and really trying to emphasize to fire service leaders and members responsibility to make sure that we're well trained and that we're ready to meet the needs of our community so that these tragedies don't occur. My point to that is that bringing this up is that they actually got the auditorium at Hopkins High School, which probably had a seating capacity of about 400. And there was probably about 150 firefighters there that day, which was really neat to see, a good turnout of folks. What surprised me in a very good way, and that's one of the things that I'm bringing this up for, is that there were firefighters from all over the state that came over and attended that. So one of the things that when you see county training classes, if the county has the ability to post a class first for the county, but then usually about 2 weeks before the class occurs, then they can open it up to everybody in the state. And so here was an opportunity that, had you gotten the notice on Gov Delivery, firefighters can go in, they can sign up in the smoke system. The training was free. All they had to do was get to Hopkins, Michigan that day. Some other things that I've seen lately too, back when we had some ice, and the ice is long gone, and hopefully it's gone until at least fall or winter of next year. But one of the things was there was ice rescue training. And the class, it was limited to 24 students. We encourage folks, they have to put limits on certain classes for span of control, because we want the students to get a really good experience. But in this case, there was a class that had 24 spots, but only 20 people in that county had signed up. And the good news was they were able to fill up spots with 4 people from out county. So anytime there's training that's paid for with smoke funds, and that's that fireworks safety fee funds, there's $2.3 million that is dispersed across the state of Michigan. There is the ability to attend training, and it's not just in your county. So that's probably one of the biggest things we're trying to really stress here, is that why it's important to be involved with Gov Delivery and actually be online and receiving those notices, is because you'll know about training that's going on in the area. And we want to fill those classes. I look forward to the day that, you get an auditorium at a high school and there's 400 seats in it, and maybe we could get 400 firefighters all in one place. But as I share kudos to Allegan County training for the training that they put on with the Charleston 9 class, and I have 150 people. And like I said, there were folks that even came from the other side of the state that came to Allegan County to take in this class. So that's the biggest thing, is to know that it's open, and it is possible for other folks to attend from other classes. One of the things that I'm also getting some calls about, and I haven't heard so much in the last week, so I'm hoping that that situation is being taken care of. I know with the COVID-19 response, there are some fire departments that were having some issues getting personal protective equipment. We're talking about the N95 masks, face shields, rubber gloves, gowns, hand sanitizer, that type of stuff. The first place that a fire department should always look to is contact your county emergency manager. is very important as we're trying to schedule resources to the Emergency Operations Center. And there's a call every morning that I participate in at 9 a.m. And it allows us to talk about what's going on throughout the state. There is a lot of PPE that has come into Michigan in the last few days, and there's a lot more PPE that's going to arrive. One of the things that they are focused on, though, is there are certain counties that are being hit harder in Michigan than other counties, and so they're directing a lot of that PPE to those counties that have the increased demand. One of the things that we want to look at on PPE, though, is that if you think you're getting close to not having enough, you need to reach out to your county emergency manager. In the process of doing that, they have the ability through a program called MySIMS, where they actually can put your resource request into the system that go to the State Emergency Operations Center. And then those resources are distributed back out through the county. So we know that a lot of you have been buying your own resources. I mean, that's typically the way that you do business during normal times. Continue to try to order through your normal suppliers, but this is a way that if you need anything, you got to work. It starts with working through your county emergency manager so that we can get that stuff for you. It's kind of bad news really today that participating on that 9 a.m. call at the state EOC. COVID-19 is now in all 83 counties in Michigan, and that was the official information that was shared this morning. So one of the things that I really want to encourage our firefighters out there, our EMS, and our law enforcement, and for that matter anyone in society, is the importance of social distancing and realizing that we have folks that have to get into close proximity of patients. A lot of fire departments are limiting how many people are going on calls or how many are going into the house. So they may have, I hear this from a lot of our volunteer paid on call fire departments, that they're limiting, they're only sending one person in to evaluate the patient. I know that in a lot of cases, probably used to maybe somewhere between 2 to 5, 6 people showing up on an EMS call. But we're trying to limit the exposure of our members. And so one of the things that is a good way to do that is limiting how many people are actually going in. So that, and then that also helps with PPE so that we can make the personal protective equipment. I know that's a lot of terms that we use, a lot of slang in fire and EMS, but PPE is personal protective equipment. And, one of the things that we're looking for is to make sure that, we protect the responders the best we can. We also put out a document, it was on GovDelivery, we put it out last week, was some links to some places where you can find out more about COVID-19 and response from your fire department. One of the links was to the CDC. And if you go to Department of Health and Human Services with the state of Michigan, they're going to lead you back to the CDC website. So we thought that was a good place to tie back to. There also was a link to the National Volunteer Fire Council, and then also the Professional Firefighters Union, and then also the International Association of Fire Chiefs. I think that, a lot of times we provide links for a lot of different resources that maybe a paid on call firefighter or a volunteer fire department would say, hey, the National Volunteer Fire Council would be a good source of information for us. That's great for the union fire departments and then the chiefs. I think what's interesting, if you look at all of the information that's there, though, is it's all tying back to the CDC. So if you're really looking for good information on PPE, the CDC. If you're looking for, hey, how do you protect your household, the CDC. And then also I know that a lot of stuff is in shortage in grocery stores. I too get out to the grocery store. I too try to limit my time of going, but there is a time that we need to go. And I know, a lot of the wipes, a lot of different things that we'd like to have for disinfecting aren't necessarily available. On the CDC website, just taking a simple spray bottle and bleach, and there is a right formula or mixture to it, but you actually can make up your own cleaning solution. And I would encourage you to be creative with that. It does involve bleach and it does involve water. And from what I've seen, for the most part, I've been able to get bleach when I'm in the store. I see it, so I know that it's available. It doesn't take much, so maybe that's something to look at if you're looking for a pretty inexpensive cleaning solution to help kill this virus. It is that bleach and water mixture. So, I get it. It's a time that we're all social distancing. Most of us are working from home today, that can, and realize that there are essential services that can't work from home. We're asking that our fire chiefs and our firefighters do the best they can to protect themselves, and that if they need any PPE, just in synopsis, to go back to the emergency manager in your county so that you can get those resources that you need. And we need to realize that this is probably a good time for the next few weeks, that fire departments probably shouldn't be getting together even to train. We want to limit the amount of people that we have at the stations. I get it. There's a time that you have to go there. I think even wiping down the trucks and different things on the interiors is a good thing to be doing there. Again, that bleach and water solution. And the idea here is we don't know what we're picking up sometimes when we go to calls, and it may not even might be in between the calls in different places that we go. One thing that I always have done in my career as a firefighter is think about your shoes. You wear your shoes in and out of places, especially for our paid on call and volunteer firefighters, is maybe you have a pair of shoes that when you wear those out to the calls, they don't come back into your house, or they stay in your garage or something like that. Because if you're bringing your shoes or you're stepping in stuff, tracking stuff, different things like that. So we need to be vigilant on our what hand washing, those type of things, as we move forward, and be ready to meet the needs of our community. For those of you that are out there on the front lines, I thank you. I know our governor thanks you, and we want to make sure that you stay safe. I look forward to maybe doing a few more of these video conferences. I think that's, I've thrown a lot at you today. Probably the biggest takeaways are work with your emergency manager in your county. That helps you get what you need. And if you have any questions, you can always call the Bureau of Fire Services. It's been no secret on my phone number. I've been giving it out for the last 3 years. So 517-388-1761. Y'all now have the cell phone for the state fire marshal. And if there's something that you feel you need to talk about, then please give me a call. Again, that's 517-388-1761. And please sign up for Gov Delivery. It is a good way for us to communicate through the fire service. And I know Amy is at the MTA as your technical person who's putting these videos together. Amy, maybe we can get that link and we can maybe have it trail across the bottom or something, so that we can get folks to where Gov Delivery is at. And I see in the other screen, Amy's giving me a thumbs up. Amy, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be on here today. And I always look forward to attending MTA events. I look forward to being back up in front of a crowd, right? I mean, that is one of the things too, is there is always good that comes out of us getting together and educating together. So, but in the meantime, this is definitely something we can do. Hopefully you found this information useful, and have a great day. Be safe and stay healthy, please. Thank you.